Internet! Hello and welcome to the very first show of 2021. The last time we did a stream was New Year's Eve, where we counted down my personal favorite movies and comic books from 2020, and there were a lot more than people expected, so I ended up doing my top 50 comics and my top 30 movies, and it was a damn good time. So I really enjoyed doing that with you guys, but now we are 12 days into the new year, so there is some news a-cooking. The town is waking up, things are moving and grooving. Now, I am usually a bit political, but I have decided, at least while things are in this level of turmoil, I'm going to steer away from the politics a bit more than maybe normal, because I need to escape it. So if little things pop up, and if you want to say stuff, and I will not repeat stuff, I got a Streamlab I'm going to say out loud, but personally I'm going to be steering into the world of fiction for at least the first couple episodes of this show, because I need the escape. I hope you are doing very well. I hope you had a great holiday as best you could, and I hope your New Year's was at least tolerable. Sure is 2021. It sure is. All right, let's get right into it. First with a Streamlab from the great Michael McCarsell. What up, man? Michael McCarsell says, the news about Deadpool 3 was exactly the good news we need right now. I agree. With everything going on in the world, fuck the Orange Man and his traitorous followers. Hey, he said it. I just agree with it. We need every bit of good news we can get. I agree, good sir, and yes, Deadpool 3 being as confirmed as humanly possible is so exciting. So that's actually our first bit of news. So let's go right from that very, very appreciated Streamlab into the quote from Kevin Feige. Now, Kevin Feige is doing press for WandaVision, which drops on January 15th. January 15th is a mere 3 days away. That is this Friday. For watching this live, that means we are less than 72 hours away from WandaVision goodness. Now, I know a little bit about how the show shakes out, but I do know this is the very last episode of Koi Cubed before we've all seen the first 2 episodes of WandaVision, which is very exciting. And I can finally say one of my good friends is in the second episode, and she's not an extra. I can very excited to tell you that my friend Emma Caulfield is in the show. I can't say anything more than that, but I can say Emma Caulfield is awesome, and that she is in the show. Marvel secrecy is so hardcore, but I don't know how much I can say, but as her role is more and more on the show, then I can say while it's airing how proud I am of her, etc. So that drops on Friday. We're getting the first 2 episodes right out of the gate. It is a much longer season than most people expected. It is not following the Mandalorian 6 episodes. It is a full 9 episodes. It brings us right up to Falcon and Winter Soldier, which drops in March. So pretty much all year we've got new Marvel content. That means even if we don't get Black Widow in theaters in the original slotted date, there's going to be plenty on TV, and there's an overlap with Loki and Black Widow, which looks interesting, especially since it looks like there's a shot of Black Widow in Loki, according to the trailer. Lots of stuff cooking at Marvel, so if we don't get the theatrical Black Widow in the original date and they move it a little later in the summer, I think that might work out for everybody. So I'm going to dive into the quotes. The first one, obviously, we got to kick it off with the man, the myth, the legend, the pool. The first one is Kevin Feige saying, quote, "It will be rated R and we are working on a script right now. And Ryan's overseeing a script right now. It will not be filming this year. Ryan's a very busy, very successful actor. We've got a number of things we've already announced that we now have to make, but it's exciting for it to have begun. Again, a very different type of character in the MCU, and Ryan is a force of nature, which is just awesome to see him bring that character to life." So, they're not going to be filming this year, which makes sense. They're arguably going to be incorporating a lot of things in the next wave of Marvel to allow Deadpool to slot in. I personally wouldn't expect a Deadpool till about 2024. I think what's going to happen, personally, is we're going to get a lot more than just a Deadpool movie. I think there's going to be a cavalcade of Ryan Reynolds Deadpool goodness. I think we're going to get Disney Plus content. I think we're going to get Hulu content. I think we're going to get a movie. Either Disney Plus or Hulu. I don't know if we're going to get both. I think we're going to get some televised content as well as some theatrical content, as well as all sorts of different flavors of media. Think about all the ad campaigns and things. I think Kevin Feige is going to be utilizing the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool brand for a lot of things. So that is all very, very exciting. Now, R rating was confirmed way back in November. The movie was confirmed even earlier than that. So there was a lot of excitement about this announcement. For me, the biggest thing about this announcement was the words MCU, or the acronym MCU. It does seem like they're going to be folding Deadpool in. I maintain they should do my original pitch from 5 years ago, Deadpool kills the Fox universe, fold him into the MCU that way. I doubt they will. But an R-rated Deadpool within the MCU is going to be very exciting. The reason I think it's going to be 2024 is that's when I think we're going to start to see the beginning of the Fox deal in a strong way. I think Phase 4 is going to start sprinkling in mutants. I think Phase 4 is going to be laying groundwork Fantastic Four, but I think Fantastic Four is going to be a 2024 extravaganza. I think 2024 is going to be branded as the year of the Fantastic Four, and I think with that comes a lot of X-Men stuff. Now, there's been a rumor going around about Doctor Doom and Black Panther. That rumor's been around for as long as Black Panther 1 has been out, and all the sources I've seen are not credible. That said, it would make sense to introduce Latveria soon and then build up to Fantastic Four, use the Fantastic Four X-Men wave as the next wave of stuff. I could easily see that happening and then tying all that into Deadpool, making his way into the universe. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to have a lot of fun with the Bob's Burgers writers, which is what was announced back in November. I think it's going to be really interesting to see Ryan in the Disney, but with more control than arguably anybody else at Disney, except for maybe Taika, to see what he does with the character within the MCU, within the shape of things. He posted an adorable Boss Logic, I love Boss Logic art, he posted an adorable Boss Logic web pulling Deadpool up out of the chair, out of that Celine Dion photo with I'm Coming Home playing in the background of his Instagram, and it's magic. So I do think all of this is going to shape what's to come with the next wave. I do think Deadpool's going to be integral to the next wave of the MCU, but I do feel like that's going to be a late Phase 4 wave. And speaking of Phase 4, they have not said when the phase that we are in actually ends. He very specifically has not said when Phase 4 concludes. So it's going to be really interesting to see what that means for the shape of these waves of Marvel content going forward, what the big events are going to be, how they tie between the show and the movies. All of that is very, very exciting. I see a couple questions have popped up in the old Streamlabs. Streamlabs, we got Hitman Hudson. Sorry to get political right away, but Spidey Cat for president. You know, I said no politics. And frankly, Hitman Hudson's coming in, swinging with a lot of heavy politics. And frankly, you're goddamn right. He's born in the States. He is over 35 in cat years. He's got no controversy. He's iconic being in a both video game and movie. He doesn't discriminate. He's not sexist. He has no bad habits. Like he's not a drunk or a drug addict. I think you're right. I think Spidey Cat for president. You're a genius. Let's make it happen. Also, Hitman Hudson follows up with, also just finished Season 1 of Doom Patrol and Season 1 of Batman Beyond. Which Season 2 should I start first? I think the average person in here will say Doom Patrol. I will say Batman Beyond. I think Batman Beyond is peak glorious animated content. I think Batman Beyond is the closest thing to Batman the Animated Series that we'll ever get for the character of Batman. For me, Batman the Animated Series is number one. Spider-Man and X-Men Animated Series in the 90s are tied for second, and then there's the rest of cartoons ever. Dragon Ball Z is like number 3. My Hero Academia is number 4, but like the gap for me between 2 and 3 is enormous. I love Dragon Ball Z, but X-Men and Spider-Man and then Batman. But Batman Beyond's like right in that zone. I'd say Batman Beyond is my vote for your second season. Good Sir Hudson. All right, and we also got one from Jesus Gastelum saying WandaVision, 9 episodes, 30 minutes each. Falcon Winter Soldier, 6 episodes, 40 to 50 minutes each. She-Hulk, 10 episodes, 30 minutes. Each 6 hours of content with $25 million to make each episode. Jesus coming in with the math. Jesus is jumping to my next subject, so I appreciate him very much. I had written half of that down, not all of the details, so you have way more. I did not mention the budget, but my next quote is the following. So going right from Mr. Jesus's wonderful Streamlab, which I appreciate very much, into the next quote from Kevin Feige. Feige saying, quote, Well, we're looking a little different. We're looking at it a little differently. We're looking at it as developing them as either 6-hour episodes or 9 or 10 half-hour episodes, said Feige. So, for instance, WandaVision started that way in Falcon the Winter Soldier as 30 minutes. But because it's streaming, it's Disney Plus, and the rules have blurred over the years. Some can be 23 minutes, some can be much longer than that. But She-Hulk, for instance, is being developed as 10 30-minute episodes. Some will be longer and some will be shorter. Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier is being developed as 6 40 to 50-minute episodes. So if you do the math, 50 times 6 is 300, 30 times 10 is 300. So you've got roughly 6 hours of content, however that shakes out. It's not going to be exact because, like you said, the way TV is evolving, that's a very different animal. But 25 million an episode is fucking crazy. That's a lot of money. That's an indie film and it's marketing. 25 million an episode is going to get you a lot when it comes to a 30-minute episode, especially. So that means you're talking, upwards of $150 million for all of this. That allows you to make She-Hulk look awesome. That allows you to do the action and spectacle we've seen in Falcon Winter Soldier, in all of these promotional materials that make it look like an actual 6-hour movie like it's been advertised. That allows you to make WandaVision look like the incredible flavor that is Tom King's Vision meets House of M, which is what the tone seems to be, having not seen it. So lots and lots of stuff is cooking up with these budgets, with this amount of money they're throwing at it. And honestly, I do think that for stories that are long form, this is the preferred format. I do think in a lot of ways people do have these giant TVs and these things at home, and especially now with pandemic, this is a really good time to tell long form storytelling. Mandalorian, I'm so appreciative for coming out once a week because it shows us event television does exist in this market. Now, I give credit to Watchmen for doing that because Watchmen did it last year. Wow, that was 2 years ago now, technically. It did it every Sunday. I always had an event to talk about. Every Sunday, Watchmen was a conversation the next day. So it's really exciting to see something like that coming out of Marvel, coming out of Disney, coming out of Star Wars. So I'm appreciative that it's once a week because that means for 6 to 10 weeks, I've got excitement to look forward to every time it drops on Friday or whatever. So I think it's a great move. I think the budgets are impressive. Jesus, thank you for sending that budget note. And I do think that it's a really smart move to not be married to a format. Like some being 6 and some being 10 is genius. It depends on the story you're trying to tell. And I think the creativity you get from telling whatever story you want instead of filler episodes, instead of hitting 13 every time. You guys know I think the Netflix shows are masterpieces. Sometimes there were a couple things that felt like filler. That's not going to happen when you have the flexibility of 6 to 10. You make the show to the runtime, to the format that you have chosen at the beginning. I think it's genius. I'm very, very excited about it. Also, briefly, one of the other quotes that really struck out to me over at Collider, Weintraub, Frosty, interviewed Feige, and he said that the MCU is planned out 5 to 6 years ahead at all times. So they've discussed mutants heavily, and they've discussed when they're coming. He obviously wouldn't reveal that, but 5 to 6 years ahead at all times. Now, in the very beginning, they were looking at like 8 to 10. 5 to 6 is still an insane amount of pre-production looking forward. This also ties into my theory of what we're doing with Deadpool, what we're doing with the X-Men, what we're doing with Fantastic Four. I do think we'll see little moments in the early Phase 4 of these characters, but I don't think we'll fully see the X-Men until after, whatever happens in the Multiverse of Madness is going to affect the X-Men. Whatever happens with the next big event is going to affect the X-Men. Whatever happens after Secret Invasion is going to affect how we trust these characters. And speaking of Secret Invasion, they have decided to announce, I assumed this, when they did the Disney Investor Day, they didn't say Secret Invasion movie, so I just assumed Disney Plus show. They confirmed that this week with the quotes about WandaVision, saying that they wanted basically a showcase for the great Ben Mendelsohn and Samuel L. Jackson. Now, those are two powerhouse actors. Secret Invasion is a comic about paranoia and government subterfuge and espionage and all these things. I think it could work on the small screen really well, and I think it could work for long form better than a 2-hour movie. Now, a lot of people are upset they're not going to get like an Avengers level event, but if you look at the comic book, Kevin Feige even said it's got more characters than Endgame, and they're not looking for another Endgame level event yet. They haven't worked up to that yet. So I think doing a contained, paranoid 70s thriller Secret Invasion is going to be a really great way to get in our heads and plant the Skrull paranoia, plant all these ideas. And I think the Skrull paranoia is going to lend itself to the X-Men paranoia. I think we've already met the Skrulls. We now think of them as good characters. We're going to meet some that aren't so good, and they're going to betray certain things, and then that's going to tie beautifully into X-Men and Thunderbolts. So I think we're going to be entering after the halfway point of Phase 4. I think the second half of Phase 4 is about not trusting. It's about paranoia. It's about conspiracy, and I think that's a great way to bring in the X-Men. I think it's a great way to bring in the Thunderbolts. I think it's a great way to bring in the Young Avengers, and I think it's a great way to make the Fantastic Four a beacon of hope. They're Marvel's first family. We trust them. They're the superheroes that we believe in. The Baxter Building, because the Baxter Building's already in the MCU. In Spider-Man, they talk about the building being sold. That's going to be the Baxter Building, and John Watts is the director of Spider-Man. He's directing Fantastic Four. It's all a beautiful web of goodness, pun intended. All right, we got another Streamlab. I believe I saw one from Vanko come in. Vanko says, quote, I feel like with these shows, the side characters will suddenly become more interesting because the amount of content dedicated to fleshing them out. Vanko, I absolutely agree. I think we're going to get, and they've said as much, we're going to get characters that are introduced on TV in long form, popping up in movies, like your Miss Marvel. We're going to get Kamala Khan popping up in Captain Marvel 2, but we're also going to get characters that we meet in the movies coming over to really get to know them on the shows. So I'm excited we get to have that with Monica Rambeau. We've met Monica Rambeau very young in Captain Marvel 1. We get to flesh out the character and meet her in a full way as soon as WandaVision. We're going to actually know Monica Rambeau as of Friday. So characters that are introduced, it's not a one-way street. It's going to be a blend of awesome. This universe is only expanding. So I agree. I do think characters that are going to be like day players in movies. A day player is a character that has like a few lines. They're not a lead or a supporting. They're right under a supporting, but they're not like an extra. They're support cast, but a little smaller than supporting. I think those characters are going to have the opportunity to really shine on television. I think those actors are going to be able to flesh out their characters, and they're only going to get more interesting. I think they're going to make it so the movies are capable of functioning without the shows, but you're going to have a much better, stronger experience if you've seen the shows. So as a nerd that loves reading every single comic book and the events and the annuals and the miniseries, this is exactly what the comic books are, and they've followed the comic book format to this point with a lot of success. I think it's genius. I'm very excited. Thank you very much for the Streamlab, Mr. Vanko. All right, back to my next quote. He also talked about how they never are going to count out Jessica Jones or Luke Cage coming in. The rights expired 2 years after the episode stopped airing, so the most recent show was Jessica Jones Season 3, which aired in 2019, which means that time this year, all of the characters are back. Now, it's been alluded to that we're getting Daredevil as soon as Spider-Man 3. Actually, as soon as She-Hulk. And it makes sense with the lawyer and everything else. So a lot of people assume that's Charlie Cox. It's been very strongly hinted at. At the Disney Investor Day, it seemed like Kevin Feige all confirmed it. Like, that's how Kevin Feige confirms things, with those tongue-in-cheek little nods. So I think we're getting Daredevil as soon as She-Hulk, as soon as Spider-Man 3. I don't know about Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, but these characters are so good, and there's such an investment on the IP. From a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense to exclude them. So I think there's a really cool opportunity. If you bring in Charlie Cox, why not have Christian Ritter? Why not have Mike Coulter? Why not use these actors again? It's a really, really cool situation they're in, where they can have this built-in origin, this built-in structure, and make it work. And as long as Netflix keeps playing them, people can go back and watch that stuff. And I think there's enough foundational infrastructure at Disney. They don't mind throwing Netflix a bone by being like, oh, watch the Netflix shows. Like, it's not like they're losing money by not having them at Disney Plus. So it's a really cool opportunity. I think it's going to happen. He said at this point, basically never say never, and that's a great way to look at it. It's not going to happen soon, but it'd be really cool if it does. I thought this was funny. He worked on Spider-Man 3, and he's like, Spider-Man 3 is a Sam Raimi movie. I did that years ago. They've been calling the Spider-Man 3 of the MCU Homecoming 3 to prevent any confusion. And I think that's just really adorable that they're having to call it Homecoming 3 because we just had a Spider-Man 3. And also because that's how long Kevin Feige has given a shit about stuff we love. It's so freaking cool. I love that Homecoming 3 is the little title they're working with it with, because I do think we're going to see all the characters from the Sam Raimi that we want. I do think the rumors are true. And Homecoming 3, I just thought it was adorable. So Kevin Feige, he's been in the game so long, this will be his second Spider-Man 3. All right, and then the last quote I want to bring attention to, he talked about the difference between the movies and the shows, etc. Kevin Feige said, quote, "It really is about the individual stories you want to tell and a bit informed by the bigger picture. We knew that we wanted to introduce Miss Marvel first and her family and all the great supporting characters and her origin in a Disney Plus long-form series, and then bring her into Captain Marvel too. There'll be some times where the opposite happens. The character is introduced in a movie and brought onto a Disney Plus series, so it really just varies based on the story and the genre we want to explore." So we know we're getting a crazy genre sitcom feel with WandaVision. We know we're getting an espionage show with Falcon Winter Soldier. I love that they can play with genre even more than they get to do in movies on TV. And I love that they're picking the characters they choose by way of what they fit in best. That is the best way to build out a universe. Obviously, we trust Kevin Feige, what he's doing. Every quote, it sounds better and better. Very excited. And the last bit of Marvel news in the world of TV is Frank Grillo confirmed that he is, in fact, working on What If, which is very exciting. As you guys know, I'm a huge Frank Grillo fan. The dude's in so much of my favorite content, from Warrior to Kingdom to so many things. Big fan of Frank Grillo. We've been trying to do something together forever. That guy's fantastic. He is Crossbones in the Marvel Universe, and he has done work on What If, which means we'll get some Crossbones in the What If animated series, which is very exciting, as voiced by Frank Grillo. All right, we've got another Streamlabs coming through. This one from Jesus. Jesus says, quote, even though it is delayed, I'm going to try and get Amazing Spider-Man 102, which is the second appearance of Morbius, which unfortunately got delayed another 7 months. Will Venom be next? Will Venom be the next Sony Marvel film to get delayed? So that is one of my other stories. You are very good at getting me to the next point, good sir. I appreciate you very much with the Streamlab, and that's correct. That is the next thing I wanted to talk about. I think everything is going to get delayed. Morbius is just the first thing. Bond's going to be delayed by the end of the week. I think Venom's going to get delayed probably about 2 or 3 weeks down the line. They could do it sooner because they've already moved Morbius. I think they should have done it as we're moving both of these properties, Morbius and Venom. I know we're getting a trailer for Venom in February, so maybe they're going to announce the new date in February. It's just everything's so uncertain. I tweeted this. I think that they shouldn't announce the new date. They should just let people know it's been moved, and then privately, in company, in studio, carve out their new date, discuss with other studios their plans, but stop announcing things. Because there's no way of knowing when things are going to be back to normal. There's no way of knowing when there'll be enough safety to be back in the theater. There's no way to know these things. There just isn't. We've been wrong so many times to this point. They should just say, like, hey, it's been delayed. And I get the wanting the light at the end of the tunnel. I get wanting to carve out a release date, and I think they should privately carve out a release date. That way, when it moves another 4 or 5 times, it's less like, so I do think Venom will be delayed, personally. I do think everything in the next 8 months will get delayed. Probably the whole year, because you're going to have to, pivot everything, especially if it's serialized. I imagine Marvel and Sony have Morbius and Venom as a serialized situation, because we know Adrian Toomes is in it. They did finish, Spider-Man 3, so there's an opportunity there for all of this to come out in the right way, but I think there is an order to how they need to come out. So I think it's going to get delayed, to answer your question. I do. All right, next bit of news was going to be about the release date shuffle, but good Sir Jesus was ahead of the curve. So my other bit of news was, in good news, we do have Netflix picking up the slack, and they put out a trailer today for a ton of their content and basically announced they're going to have a movie a week every week of 2021. They have enough content to put out a movie every single week in 2021. Some of these are going to be small indies. Some of these are going to be giant blockbusters. Red Notice has Gal Gadot, The Rock, and Ryan Reynolds in it. That's going to be a big summer blockbuster on Netflix. We've also got a Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence Oscar film. We've also got this awesome looking Miami Vice Chris Hemsworth movie coming out. There's so much Netflix content. There's also a bunch of indies. There's also a bunch of sequels to Netflix stuff. There is a constant barrage of Netflix content. This is what I was speaking to when I say we shouldn't release things straight to streaming if there's streaming already coming. Netflix has got they're made for this size screen movies. Now, personally, I still go see Netflix movies in the theaters when I can. I can't right now. I saw 6 Underground in theaters. I saw the Breaking Bad movie El Camino in theaters. I prefer things in theaters. So even if it is on Netflix at home, I still go to the theater. But I don't think movies that were designed for the theater, like Wonder Woman, I think Wonder Woman suffered for it being made at home. I think I gave it like a B-, C+, and I think that was maybe because I watched it at home. It might have been more like a B. I had a hard time being like, this is a blockbuster, because I was watching it at home, and it just didn't feel the same. So I prefer, if something's made for the theater, to get the full theater experience. That said, if it's made for Netflix and it's supposed to be playing on Netflix, I thought Extraction was bitchin'. I would have rather seen it in theater, but I understood what it was made for. So a movie every single week from Netflix is coming at you in 2021, and I am very excited. We'll see what the future of content is, be it tons and tons and tons and $10 million movies, or, $200 million Red somehow coming out. Like, I don't know how that movie's going to make money, but doesn't matter. I'm not an investor. I'm just excited to watch it. All right, moving past the Netflix movie week. By the way, watch that trailer. It's everywhere. Go on YouTube, go to type in Netflix, whatever you need to do. The trailer for the amount of content they got coming out it's amazing, and it's insane. All right, I saw another one come through from Hitman Hudson. You guys are killing it today, and it's really fun. I like doing these in between different news stories, so this flows nicely. I appreciate it very much. Also, Jesus, do get Amazing Spider-Man 102. I have it. It's a lovely issue. I think I need 122, and I think that's the most recent one I need, but then before that, it's like in the 60s. Like, I only have 36 issues of Spider-Man left that I need, but 102 is one of those ones that I look for forever in my 20s, and I love that issue. So good luck, happy hunting, and enjoy that issue. Hitman Hudson, could you explain why some people don't like Morbius as a character? Because I've been seeing a lot of hate for him on Twitter. Personally, I've loved him in the comics. I've read with him in it. Also, so hyped for What If. I think people don't like the character because he brings a certain different kind of mysticism to Spider-Man. Like, I like Morbius. I like that Spider-Man is kind of a underdog. His villains are based in like science, except for symbiotes kind of guy. Like, a lot of the villains in Spider-Man are based off of science or thugs, and then the symbiotes like the crazy thing, and that's why there's a family of symbiotes. You got your Venom, you got your Carnage, you got all that world. I think people's problem with Morbius is he's a vampire, and it's like, whoa, this is out of nowhere. The Marvel Universe allows for that. Dracula's part of the Marvel Universe. Like, obviously Blade is where I think a lot of people assume Morbius should go, but I've always kind of liked that when villains live in other people's wheelhouses, it kind of blends the universe together that feels more real. Like, Spider-Man is the first place that Kingpin popped up. Kingpin is known as a big Daredevil villain, but he's also a big Spider-Man villain. So I've always liked Morbius. I think a lot of people don't like him just because he feels a little tonally different than they expect from Spider-Man, but I have no problem with that. I also think there might be some guff because it's Jared Leto. There could be 100 reasons you're seeing those things. I don't think you're wrong. I think you're correct. The character's fun, and he's a good time in the animated series as well as in the comic books, etc., etc. So keep loving him, man. That's what matters. You liking the character, that's all that matters. All right. We also have some bad news over on the world of Warner Brothers Television. The Green Arrow and Canary show, as of now, not moving forward. It's a bit of a bummer. I'd been calling it the Canaroverse to Kat. We had Kat on the show back in 2019, so it's been a long time they were trying to get this going. And I was calling it the Canaroverse then, and it just never happened in the last year and a half. Kat McNamara is fantastic, by the way. Like, she is she is such a brilliant mind, and she's so talented, and she's just stunning and like captivating and interesting. Kat McNamara should be everywhere. So cast Kat McNamara now that she's not doing the Green Arrow and the Canary show. Since the Canaroverse is no more, I want to see Kat more places. She's just great, and like she is one of those people that really dives into a character. Like, she actually learned how to shoot a bow. She reads a ton. She cared about the character. She cared about the comics. So I want her to be able to invest that in another character if this one actually doesn't move forward. There's some hope. A lot of people are saying it's not dead forever. It's hard when a show like this dies over the course of a year and a half, especially after Green Arrow ended so long ago. So that's where that show is. Unfortunately, it does not look like it's moving forward over at Warner Brothers /CW. And they've got a ton of other shows, so I can see why that happened. But it's a bummer. I was hoping for that one. I really have my fingers crossed for it. In the world of movies, a bunch of cool movie news popped up this week as far as assembling casts and everything else. Andy Samberg and the Palm Springs writing team are teaming up with Ben Stiller and Noah Hawley to make a new comedy. That is a lot of talent I appreciate. Andy Samberg, Ben Stiller. Palm Springs was one of my top 3 movies of last year. I loved Palm Springs. For me, it went Soul, The Gentleman, Palm Springs. Nope, it was number 4, Touché. My own memory. It went Soul, The Gentleman, Tenet, Palm Springs. It was number 4. But like, it lived there for a while. That movie came out in the summer and I loved it. So Palm Springs is a genius comedy. I think that team should work all the time, and I'm very excited for them to be teaming up with Sandberg again. Also very excited for Ben Stiller to be making something with Noah Hawley and Sandberg. This is all very good news. So that team making a comedy, all about it. In the world of dramas, Aaron Sorkin is writing and directing a Kidman and Javier Bardem joint. Anytime Aaron Sorkin's attached to something, you know I'm in. Him writing and directing makes me very happy. I also, in my top 20 last year, Trial of Chicago 7, big fan. Huge fan of Aaron Sorkin, rewatched The West Wing through quarantine. I needed that. It's a fantastic show. Sorkin's a genius writer, I think, and I think it's a great opportunity for Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem to be in some, like, rich language. I could see both of them really, like, lending themselves to Sorkin dialogue, so I'm really excited. So, yes, Sahil, go watch Palm Springs. It is very good. Actually, let me look in the live chat real quick. I just saw that pop up and scroll away. Michael McCarcel, sadly, that's not too surprising. The backdoor pilot for it was fine, but not the most interesting. Yeah, it's tricky, and that length of delay when it's just fine isn't enough. You know, it's got to be exceptional if it's going to sit there that long. I think the introduction of The Punisher could provide some excellent commentary on certain events and attitudes, plus I'm a big Bernthal fan. Dude, I would love, and E. Walter asked about Punisher as well. Yes, you lovelies, I want Punisher as well. John Bernthal's been very public about saying he wants in. Vincent D'Onofrio has all but yelled that he's the kingpin in the MCU. I think John Bernthal, if the Charlie Cox thing is real, we'll get John Bernthal. And we'll also get Vincent D'Onofrio. If any of that's real, I think all of it can be real. Plus, there's no one like the Punisher that is John Bernthal in season 1. That's one of those like Iron Man level castings. So I completely agree. I know Bernthal's in, and yeah, that dude is the Punisher. I met him at the Ford versus Ferrari premiere, and it was really jarring to see a character come to life like that. Like I love him and other things. Like I really love the movie Zac Efron DJ movie that everyone hated that I really, really love. It doesn't matter what it's called. It's a fantastic movie. John Bernthal's in it, and it blew me away in that movie. And Fury, he's incredible. He pops up in all sorts of great stuff. He's also great in Ford versus Ferrari. But being such a Marvel guy, talking to him about his love for the Punisher, you can see how like viscerally and animated he's invested in it. And it was really impressive to see how much he loved the character in person. He's just so invested in Frank, and he loves Frank so much. So I also would like to see Bernthal, since he loves the character as dearly as he does, get to do that in the MCU. I think it's a really cool opportunity to expand the Punisher, because I think season 1 is some of the best. I think season 1 is some of the best comic book adaptation work I've ever seen, and it's a character that is easy to get wrong, and they got him so right. So I would like to see that continue if at all possible. I agree with you, chat. Coachella Coastal. I've never seen The Walking Dead, but I hear that. So for the audience. Coachella Coastal says The Walking Dead too. I just haven't seen it. Not much of a zombie guy in general. Over back to the notes and the things that are assembling. Speaking of very, very cool, talented people getting to work on cool, talented things, Brendan Fraser is back. Brendan Fraser had a great turn in Doom Patrol. We've heard about what horrible things happened to Brendan Fraser over the last few years. He's back in a big way because now he's working with Darren Aronofsky on The Whale. Darren Aronofsky is one of the most genius directors, period. Darren Aronofsky and Nolan were like dancing around the Batman at the same time. Aronofsky was going to do a year 1, and Nolan obviously wanted to do the Begin story he told, and what different world we live in if Aronofsky had done Batman instead of Nolan, like how things would have changed. That said, Aronofsky made The Wrestler and Black Swan and lots of genius auteur fare, and I want to see anything he does. I think he's genius. I think The Fountain is one of the most beautifully enigmatic, strange, and powerful movies ever, and I'm very excited for more of him. And Brendan Fraser, to get to work with him is just dope. I'm really, really stoked for Brendan Fraser. My buddy Moda in the chat yelling, yes, Brendan Fraser is the man. Yes. So getting to see him in something that's like that Oscar flavor, that genius independent work, I think it's high time we bring Brendan Fraser back. So Aronofsky summoning straight from Doom Patrol, the great Brendan Fraser, made me very excited, so it made the rundown. Another actor I love dearly and another director I love dearly is one man. His name is Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is directing and co-writing a young adult movie. Did not expect this to be his first thing after the Snyder Cut wave, or even after that 20s gangster film he did. I think The Town is one of the best Boston movies of all time. I'm from there. It felt authentic to the world I know. It felt like the most Boston thing. Like, I think The Departed felt like Boston with shades of Scorsese. I think The Town just felt like Boston. I love my city. I'm a huge Boston guy, and The Town got it. So I wanted more, to be honest, I wanted more, you know, that Ben Affleck. So I'm really curious what he does with young adult properties. I'm really curious what he does with something that's like, apparently it's a telekinesis protagonist. So like more supernatural, more comic booky. I'm really excited to see what he does with that kind of directing, because so far he's done very gritty crime thrillers over different decades. Gone Baby Gone is also genius, but also that dark tone. So I'm curious how he handles light tonality, and telekinesis, young adult movie, very different than I expected. Very excited to see how it shakes out. And then final bit of news tying comic books all in together. I don't know if you guys saw the genius sequel to The Shining that came out last year, but it was so fucking good. And Mike Flanagan directed it, and that was 2 years ago now, wasn't it? Time's a flat circle. Anyway, Mike Flanagan, I'm an instant fan because of this movie, and he wants to do a Clayface movie. Now, I think the Joker is the beginning of a great idea of making villain films and making them the leads and diving into their story, especially Batman and Spider-Man's villains. Those are the two sets. I've always said that the Spider-Man Sinister Six movie should be them as the leads and Spider-Man as the villain, and have them be down on their luck criminals. Make an Ocean's 11 movie, but make it the Sinister Six and make Spider-Man your bad guy, and I'm fucking there. You can do a very similar thing with Batman. The Joker made $1 billion. Do a romantic comedy Mr. Freeze movie. Do a movie that's like freaking Rachel McAdams would play the female doctor, and homeboy Ryan Gosling plays Mr. Freeze. Like, that's a love story for the ages, and then it gets really dark and he turns into a villain. Like, you can make a really cool slow burn sweeping romance that turns into a Mr. Freeze movie. Clayface, you can do a really cool body horror movie where it starts very, you know, you give a shit about this guy and he mutates and it becomes a different horrific experience. And I think Clayface is a character that doesn't get enough love, and specifically Mike Flanagan reaching out and saying, like, I want to do Superman or Clayface. Like, he clearly loves the character. He clearly has an idea in mind. I would love to see a Mike Flanagan Clayface movie, and he has said he wants to make one. So I think it'd be awesome. I mean, fingers crossed. It being just a statement in an interview is one thing. It moving forward is another. But now that it's out there in the ethos, I'm trying to manifest it. I'm saying it out loud so it happens. All right, I'm going to quickly jump into the chat before we get to the streaming and comic book recommendations. It has been 2 weeks of comic books since New Year's because I did a New Year's stream, so I'm going to go back to my favorite books of the last 2 weeks. One of them was a fairly short week, but I want to make sure I get all of my pulls for you lovelies. Jesus in the Streamlabs! Marvel made an announcement a few days. I thank you very much. I saw this as we were logging on. Marvel made an announcement a few days ago for the Miles Morales comic, in quotes, Miles Morales Spider-Man Clone Saga. I understand that character is getting popular. I wasn't around when the OG Clone Saga was out. Will this be good? You're asking either the exactly wrong or the exact right person. I love the Clone Saga. I think that the Clone Saga was just a thing of too many cooks. If the Clone Saga had done a little less well and they let it end when it was supposed to, it would be revered. It'd be like No Man's Land. Unfortunately, it had like 5 different titles and like 10 different writers, and it was super convoluted. They brought it back and killed it a bunch of times, and it was a lot. It was a mess. I think what works with the Clone Saga is its power and responsibility gone too far. So basically, when you have too much responsibility and it kind of breaks your psyche, the idea of another character kind of manifesting out of that broken psyche is how I always saw Ben Reilly. He was everything Peter wanted to be. He was the freedom, he was fun-loving, he was free-spirited. And then the identity crisis of, am I real, is fascinating. That's a great conversation. It's an existential crisis in comic books. You know I love those. So that story is fantastic. I don't know how they do it with a character that is as new as Miles. Miles is only 6 years old, 7. There's less backstory, but he's beloved, as he should be. I think Miles is a great character. It's just going to be really interesting to see, you know, it was 40 years into Spider-Man's storytelling that the Clone Saga really came to fruition, so how are they going to do that with a character that's this young and this new? I'm curious. I'm very excited for it as well. I think it's a great way to advertise it, like we're all talking about it. All they announced was the title and we're super in, so I'm very much here for it. I would recommend you read the consolidated Clone Saga before the new one comes out, if you can. I think it's on Comixology. It has been collected a number of times, but you should check it out, and then no matter what, dive into the new one because I think it's going to be great. Darth Vader. Oh, the great Darth Vader. How you doing, man? I have a birthday coming up. Happy birthday soon, Darth Vader. But I'm more of a gift giver than receiver, so here you go. Can we expect WandaVision spoiler reviews here or on Coycast? Well, Darth Vader, first of all, thank you for the Streamlab. That is, birthdays are sacred, and thank you very much for sending me a gift, and your birthday is coming up. That is lovely. I think you can expect, I'm thinking of doing immediately when I finish it, Instagram reaction, because I want to get my Instagram over 10,000. It's driving me crazy. I've been sitting at 9,000 and change. I'd gotten up to 9,300, but I'm a political person, so I lost a lot of it. Anyway, I'm at 9,000-ish, and I want to get over 10,000 just for the swipe up. I just want to be able to swipe, because it helps my work if I can swipe. So I think I'm going to do initial reactions on the gram. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, it's at Coy-Jandreau. Like a 5 or 10 minute reaction to the experience of the episode. And then I'll probably be doing spoiler episodes here and spoiler free on Coycast. You're going to get 3 places to hear my thoughts on WandaVision. I'm probably going to go spoiler light on the podcast, and that way people, if they're driving, they don't want to turn it off, they can, kind of like zone out, and it's like spoiler, free. But here on the show, I can wave my hands and warn and shit. So spoiler here, spoiler free, and then first reaction Instagram, if that makes sense. Those are the 3 places I'm going to have those going on. And a very happy birthday, Vadad. I'm very excited for you. Birthdays are fun and important. Comic Works with Jimmy. New profile pic, who dis? Oh, it's Jimmy. Never mind, everyone. It's just Jimmy. What up, Jimmy? I like your Comic Works. I like your Jimmy. That sounded way dirtier than I meant. Did not mean that. I like your name. Your name just happens to sound perverted when I say it that way. And happy new profile picture. I hope it suits you. I can't see it because we're streaming and you guys are just names zooming by. But here we are. All right. So happy birthday to Darth Vader. Thank you for the gift. And I think spoilers in those various places. And I'd probably say it drops on Friday. The show is on Tuesday. So that gives people Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's a decent amount of time for spoilers. So I will wave and stuff. I should get a spoiler graphic, Michael. But I will let people know spoilers are coming, and we'll handle it that way. All right, back to the news. Or I should say, back to the recommendations. I recommend for last week's comic books, the week of January 6th. So the 30th, I did actually get to talk about comics for the last week of last year because it was a short week. So we're only 1 week behind. So I can actually give you guys the comic book recs for this week. Comic books available right now that dropped on January 6th that I highly recommend are Crossover number 3. Holy shit, that book is consistent as hell. I talked to Donny Cates this week, and he teased that the stuff going on, or it's only going to get crazier. That guy's a genius. He knows his comic books. I love the art in that book. I love the mind of Donny Cates. I love the world he's building with Crossover. I think we're in for a real good time with this book. Crossover number 3. Also, Firepower number 7. Chris Samney on art. Robert Kirkman, the writer of The Walking Dead, killing it on my new favorite overall ongoing title next to Crossover. Those are probably my top 2. It is neck and neck. I love Crossover and Firepower, and they both came out this week. We've got a bunch of Future State books. My 3 favorites were Future State Harley Quinn number 1, Future State Swamp Thing number 1, and Future State Wonder Woman number 1. Those are my pulls for the Future State stuff for week 1. It looks like they're putting out like 5 to 10 Future State books a week. Those are the ones I recommend from last week that I highly recommend were Harley Quinn, Swamp Thing, and Wonder Woman were my Future State pulls. Then we had Iron Man number 5. This new Iron Man arc continues to be one of the best Iron Man stories I've heard and read in years. It is exceptional. Then we had MODOK Head Games number 2, which is just a damn good time. MODOK Head Games is a really fun miniseries. Thor number 11. Again, Donny Cates appearing twice on this list. Donny Cates' Thor number 11 is more insane Asgardian action, and I don't want to reveal what's happening in the storyline right now, but it's big and intense and original and glorious. And then a third Donny Cates book, not gonna lie, there's a third Donny Cates book, Venom 32. The way he's written Venom and the places this character's going in the midst of King in Black, 10 points to Gryffindor. Donnie's killing it. So, Venom 32, Thor 11, MODOK Head Games 2, Iron Man 5, Future State, Wonder Woman, Swamp Thing, Harley Quinn, and Firepower and Crossover are your top 9 pulls for the week of the 6th of January. So those are my favorite books last week. The books I recommend for this week, the comics coming out tomorrow, the 13th of January. Yes, I know the Future State books are out today, but I consider Wednesday New Comic Book Day, so I always count them from tomorrow, Wednesday. So for January 13th, we've got Amazing Spider-Man 57, American Vampire 1976 number 4, Chris Claremont Anniversary Special, Future State Dark Detective 1, Future State Green Lantern 1, Future State Justice League 1, Future State Kara Zor-El Superwoman 1, Future State Robin Turtle 1, Future State Superman Wonder Woman 1, and Future State Teen Titans 1 are all out tomorrow. Like I said, they're doing a ton of Future State books every single week. I'm going to read them all. I'm going to tell you guys which ones I dug most. And if you guys are patrons, you can see what I rated each and every one. So I do ratings A through F over my Patreon that you guys can check out if you're into that sort of thing. If you want to know what I thought of each book, I grade them like a school paper, and you can see which ones I dig overall. Homesick Pilots number 2, Immortal Hulk 42, and then we've got a bunch of King in Black stuff. We've got King in Black Gwenom versus Carnage, King in Black Planet of the Symbiotes, and King in Black Thunderbolts number 1. I'm curious about what Thunderbolts is doing over in the world of King in Black as we go forward. We've got Marauders 17, Sensational Wonder Woman number 2, Seven Secrets number 8, and Sword number 2. Now, Sword is a Shield-like spin-off that I'm very curious how they work into this new world. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it, but we've got Sword number 2 coming out at us. I see Comic Quirks of Jimmy. I don't read Star Wars comics. That universe is already so expansive, and I had left Star Wars completely behind until Mandalorian, basically. I already read most comic books from Image, Marvel, DC, and I read about half from all the indies. I can't dive into the world of Star Wars, and the fandom scares the shit out of me. Those people are just often angry. So I don't read High Republic because it's Star Wars. They scare me. Over in the world of streaming recommendations I have for you guys. Streaming recs coming out on Netflix that dropped on the 1st were the favorite things that I'm enjoying right now on Netflix. There's Headspace Guide to Meditation. I'm a big meditation advocate. Headspace is the app I use. Now there's a show, I haven't looked at it yet, but it's on Netflix. I use the app, but there's something from Headspace over on Netflix for you guys to check out. There's also Can't Hardly Wait, Cobra Kai Season 3, I've already finished. The Departed, one of my favorite movies. I talked about it earlier in the show. Goodfellas, Into the Wild, Mud, and Girl with the Dragon Tattoo dropped on the 5th. Coming out on the 15th this Friday, you can watch Hook over on Netflix. Over in the world of Amazon, we've got all the Austin Powers movies. Boogie Nights, a genius film from PTA and Mackie Mac. Chaplin, I've never seen. It is Robert Downey Jr.'s Oscar performance of Charlie Chaplin is going to be on Amazon as of the 1st. So this week. Crazy Stupid Love, my favorite rom-com of all time. Rules of Attractions, a very slept-on film. Bret Easton Ellis novel, a sister film, so to speak, to American Psycho. We've got Young Adult, and then finally, The Rhythm Section dropped on the 11th. That is Blake Lively's action movie. It looks like Jason Bourne with Blake Lively, and I'm very excited for that, so I'm checking that out ASAP. On Hulu, we've got Master and Commander in the Town dropping on the 1st, which I am very excited about. And then on The Rhythm Section, also dropping on Hulu on the 11th. I was like, how am I back to this? But it's because it's on Amazon and Hulu. Yes, I see someone in the chat mentioning the history of swear words. I've been watching that with so much love and reverence as someone who swears like a motherfucker. I appreciate that show existing. It is on Netflix. Nicolas Cage is the host, and it is spectacular. So do check out the history of swears hosted by Nick Cage over on Netflix. And then over on Disney Plus, we had a new show drop last week. I haven't checked it out, but I've heard mixed things. We've got Marvel Legends, which dropped last week, and then this Friday we've got the WandaVision 2-episode premiere. I'm very excited for WandaVision for obvious reasons. We get 2 episodes on Friday, so we got WandaVision dropping in mere days. And yes, we'll be doing spoilers on this very show about WandaVision week to week, but I'll warn you first. And then also Mary Poppins Returns, which was a lot of fun. Emily Blunt as Mary Poppins. It was a good time. And then finally, HBO Max, which is, I maintain, the closest to a blockbuster we may ever get. I really love Blockbuster. I miss the feeling of just wandering in and picking out a Friday movie, and HBO Max gives me that starting on the 1st. We got Batman Beyond, son. We talked about watching Batman Beyond earlier in this episode, but I had to plug it because Batman Beyond being able to be streamed makes me very happy. Also, Ed, Edd and Eddy. If you're about my age, you probably watched Ed, Edd and Eddy on Cartoon Network, and I haven't revisited it, but now I can. We've also got Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. We've got Ocean's 8. We've got Warrior Seasons 1 and Season 2. Haven't started it yet, but Joe Starr said he would physically fight me if I didn't watch Warrior, so I'm going to be checking out Warrior as soon as I can over on HBO Max. On the 8th, Patriots Day came out, a Marky Mark movie near and dear to my heart because it's about the an atrocity that happened to my city. And it's the cop side of the story. Stronger with Jake Gyllenhaal is the more personal drama side. Patriots Day is the cop handle shit other side. So that came out on the 8th. And then on the 9th, The King of Staten Island, which I really dug, a Pete Davidson, Bill Burr movie. On the 12th, Blue Valentine. Today, One of my favorite breakup movies. Whenever I break up, I'm a masochist, so I watch like really heart-wrenching, like heartbreaking movies. So I watch Like Crazy and Blue Valentine, every major breakup. Blue Valentine is now available on HBO Max for you to cry about. It's so fucking good. Ryan Gosling, Michelle Williams, genius. Also, Mud, coming over to HBO Max. Stephen King's It, the 1991 on the 15th, as well as One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the OG Jack Nicholson movie, also on the 15th. So, HBO Max, still just killing it. Those are just my picks. Like, there's tons more over there, but those are the ones that I particularly got excited to check out. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss any Streamlabs, then I'm going to check on the chat real quick. And that's going to do it for the show, you lovelies. It has been a very good time being back with you guys. It has been a trying holiday season, to say the least, but we are here. It is January. There's going to be news every single week, and next week we kick off the spoilers of WandaVision every single Tuesday. So Tuesdays, 4 o'clock-ish, we'll be diving into spoilers, and then the next day on Coycast, there'll be less spoilers. That way, if you're driving, you don't have to like panic and press buttons. But also, if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram because I'll do immediate reactions. Like, as soon as I finish watching it, I'm going to jump on an Instagram Live and just, you know, spit that shit. And then it'll live on IGTV. So I promise you there's not going to be a shortage of Disney Plus Marvel content coming at you from me. I plan to keep up on all of it. Jesus! Over on Streamlabs. Soon we'll be doing a podcast on WandaVision with my cousin on the Stereo podcast app covering them spoilers. So if you guys want more coverage with spoilers, check out Jesus. His last name is Gastelum, Gastelum on the Stereo podcast app. So look up his name. He's going to be doing spoilers for WandaVision as well, so you can check out his podcast and you can experience all your spoiler needs as needed. That's clever plugging there, sir, because I did a full commercial. You can clip that, play it, wherever you want. It lives forever. All right, that's going to be it for this week's show. I appreciate you guys so very much. I am very excited for... Oh, we got another one. That's a lie. I can't rap yet. Comic Works with Jimmy. Doctor Who is HBO Max, and this is the first time I'm watching Peter Capaldi and Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. A little bit of a letdown. I've never watched The Who. I have a lot of friends that love Doctor Who. I've been to many Doctor Who themed birthday parties. I know of the legend of the Doctor Who. It has not been a fandom I've dove into, but I am sorry that... Oh, you do have a new profile picture. On my computer, I can see it. New profile pic. Who dis? It's Comic Works with Jimmy. Now I know. Sorry, that was a throwback for 20 minutes ago for the new audience. Here we are. I'm sorry I broke your heart. There's so many shows, and I also like other things besides TV. So it's hard to watch all the shows and, you know what I mean? Like, I like reading, like, books and, like, working out, and TV is a lot, is what I'm saying. I'm more of a movie guy, so I'm very sorry. Truly, I hear Doctor Who is incredible. This is not to disparage or besmirch the great name of Who. It is with love and reverence that I've not half-assed Doctor Who. It's because it's a lot, and I know that about it. So with all the love in my heart, I hope it gets better for you, and I hope that people watching it know that it needs to, because I hear it's great. All right. And also, Michael McCarcel, thank you. Thank you. There is so much Doctor Who. I'm trying to watch the first 2 seasons of Warrior, so Joe Starr, my real-life can find me and beat me up friend, doesn't get mad. And that's 2 seasons of a new show. Very hard to keep up. I didn't watch Community till this quarantine. I'd never seen Community. I didn't watch The Office till last year. It took last year to get me through The Office, and it took an entire quarantine to get me through Community. So, Jesus. Oh, my mom's in here? Hi, Mom. Yeah, it is time to wrap this bad Larry up. I appreciate you guys very, very much. I hope you check out some of those comic book recommendations. I hope you check out some of those streaming recommendations. You guys were very missed over the long break. It is good to be back with more Koi Cubed. This week, we'll be dropping a review for The Sound of Metal, a very intense drama that is streaming right now. One of my faves of the year, and I'm doing a review for my patrons. For my patrons, and I made it one word. I apologize about that. AJ Lancaster, I'm doing a review of The Sound of Metal for, and then also a watch along later in the month for Michael McCarcel. We're going to discuss that, probably the last week of the month, and then what else is going on? Coycast every week. That's the plan. All right, always a pleasure, guys. I will see you next week, and know that at the end of the episode, I was distracted because this gentleman popped in my lap. It was very hard to stay focused. So Spidey Cat says goodbye as well, and he appreciates you. See, he's waving. Okay, Spidey, how am I gonna press the button? Okay, you stay handsome. I believe in you. Okay. Guys, for those of you that stayed through the rambling at the end, Spidey Cat footage. All right, I will see you very soon. And I have an interview with Comic Perks with Jimmy. It is January. That's happening. Only interview I booked that's not Schmodown based. That man right there. It's going down. I will see you guys next week. I will see you sooner for various review stuffs, and I will talk to you on the interwebs. Stay safe, stay sane, stay good, take care of each other. Much love to Koi Pond. We'll see you soon. Bye.